It is Tuesday, August 18, 2026, and this is The High Road, Logistics and Leadership. I'm Elena Rossi, and I'm the one who makes sure your risk assessments don't end in a courtroom waltz.
This is Buck Reynolds.
I'm Dan Miller.
And I'm Jules Sterling. We have a great show for you today.
Yesterday, we covered labor maintenance gap and elastic logistics, telematics and nuclear verdicts, and industry tax fraud.
Look, the goalposts were moving every 5 minutes yesterday, especially with those nuclear verdicts hitting the $36 million mark. But today is even more packed, folks. We're looking at the Arctic becoming the new shipping lane and an infrastructure build-out that is basically carrying the flatbed market on its back.
If I may, actually, we should probably start with the fact that the Strait of Hormuz is functionally a ghost town today, and not the fun, spooky kind. The 60-day peace deadline between the U.S. and Iran expired yesterday without a deal.
It's a disaster, Elena. I mean, we're talking about a merchant vessel getting hit by a projectile early this morning, just as it was trying to exit the strait. The transits have plummeted from over 130 a day down to, what, 8?
8 ships, Buck. 8. It's like trying to play a Super Bowl in a high school gym. The capacity isn't just squeezed, it's practically non-existent.
And it's not just the Hormuz, right? The Houthis claimed a strike on a Saudi landing ship off Mocha yesterday, too. It's making the insurance premiums for these lanes absolutely skyrocket. I mean, I'm talking to clients who are literally asking if we can just sail around the entire continent of Africa to avoid the headache.
Well, they are. Actually, carriers are doing more than that. They're looking at the Ice Silk Road. You know, the northern sea route through the Arctic. It's becoming less of a what-if and more of a strategic necessity as traditional choke points become war zones.
Ice Silk Road? The thing is, Elena, you can call it a Silk Road all you want, but a Silicon driver in a dispatch office in Omaha doesn't know how to handle a hull-crushing ice flow. We're trading missile strikes for icebergs. And honestly, I don't know which one is worse for the bottom line.
But Buck, look at the numbers. Carriers are managing the chaos by just cutting the cord. Blank sailings are the new normal. They're creating tactical scarcity to keep the rates from falling off a cliff while the world burns. It's a ruthless play, but it's keeping them in the game.
It sort of feels like we're seeing a total bifurcation of the global trade map, you know? There's the high-risk, high-cost traditional route, and then this frantic search for these unconventional workarounds that aren't even fully mapped yet.
And while we're talking about unconventional, if we look at the home front, actually, the domestic freight market is doing its own version of a weird dance. Dan, you were looking at this stagnation paradox earlier.
Yeah, Elena, look, bottom line is that shippers are paying more to move less right now. The Cass Index is showing volume is basically flatlining, down about 2.8% week over week. But the line haul rates, they're still sitting 40% higher than this time last year.
It doesn't make sense. The thing is, if the loads aren't there, why are my drivers still seeing rates that look like 2021 numbers?
Because the purge was real, Buck. We lost 30% of active truck postings over the last 2 years. The smaller fleets just bled out. It's like a team that lost half its roster but still has to play the full schedule. The players who are left have all the leverage.
Plus, there's this hidden industrial surge. It's not retail driving the market right now. It's the AI data center boom. Those flatbed rates aren't high because of consumer goods. They're high because we're moving massive HVAC units and transformers into the middle of nowhere to build server farms.
Right. You see, it's all about specialized demand.
Exactly. And that brings us to the tape. Now it's time for Spot Rate Tape, our Tuesday segment where we break down the national benchmarks and give you the ground truth on what it costs to move a load right now.
Good morning, everyone. Dan Miller here. It's Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. let's look at the tape for your morning rate call. We see a significant unseasonal softening throughout the market this week. The national dry van spot rate is now $3.01 total. Line haul averages $2.39. That is a sharp 7-cent drop from last week, marking the largest percentage decline for this period in nearly 2 decades.
Whoa, 7 cents? That's a real hit to the margin for the guys running spot, right?
It's a gut punch, Jules. Reefer's the only one showing any teeth, sliding just 2.7 cents to a national average of $2.75. We're nearly 35% higher year over year, but that seasonal peak is losing steam faster than a cooling engine.
And flatbed? I heard the industrial projects were cooling off.
You heard right, Buck. Flatbed took a heavy blow, sliding 5 to 7 cents to average $3.64 all in. But here's the call-out lane. Watch the Northeast outbound. While the rest of the country is bleeding rate, dry van loads originating in the Lehigh Valley and Jersey actually saw a slight uptick. If you've got capacity there, that's your only pocket of leverage in an otherwise quiet market.
I suppose we should also mention Laredo. Actually, with those new trade tag penalty policies that went live yesterday, I'm seeing carriers bake in what I call a friction premium. Transit times are oscillating because the city is hitting low balance accounts with $2,000 fines.
Spot rate tape, that's a wrap. Expect a high volume scrap for miles until the Labor Day push begins. Keep your pencil sharp.
Before we move on to the tech wreck and those drones, I want to take a quick second to talk about the people who keep our industry actually running behind the scenes.
Strategic logistics requires world-class engineering, and this show is actually powered by the stack developed by Eric Christensen at Neural Network Media.
That's right. Support the architect behind the code that keeps us on the air. Visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Neural Network Media for a free trial and access to our daily briefing PDF. It's the good stuff, guys.
It really is. And speaking of the good stuff, or maybe the I can't believe it's actually happening stuff, Jules, you were following the drone scaling news?
Oh, it's wild. Amazon Prime Air just launched their first international operation in the UK today using the MK30 drone. We're talking 60-minute delivery for parcels within 7.5 miles. But the real kicker is the Uber and Zipline alliance. They're targeting 1 million daily drone deliveries by 2029.
A million a day? I mean, who's managing the traffic? My drivers have enough trouble with four-wheelers on the ground. Now we have to worry about robots falling out of the sky into the cab?
Actually, Buck, the safety protocols are supposed to be integrated into these agentic logistics layers. Platforms like Burke and Locus are doing multi-constraint routing. They claim they can reroute a drone or a truck in real time if a customer changes their window, reducing costs by up to 25%.
It's that decision layer shift, you know? It's more than just a GPS dot now. It is about artificial intelligence that makes new decisions on the fly. Now, Alina, you are focusing on the regulatory side, correct? Specifically, the EPA rules for 2027?
Well, the 2027 EPA NOx standards are a looming catastrophe for complacency. We're already seeing a massive pre-buy cycle. Fleets are terrified of the new technology's reliability and the price tags, so they're buying up current models like it's the end of the world.
Because it is. I mean, here's the deal. You look at the recall Stellantis just had for their software. We are overcomplicating these machines to the point where a glitch in a trailer sensor can shut down the tractor's safety systems. The NMFTA just released research linking trailer cybersecurity vulnerabilities to total tractor failure.
That's a classic defensive mismatch, Buck. We're putting all this high-tech armor on the front end, but the trailer is the blind side. It's like a linebacker having a hole in his helmet. Eventually, you're gonna get hit where it hurts.
Speaking of being hit, we have to talk about infrastructure. Specifically that US 17 widening project in South Carolina. Buck, you've run that lane 1,000 times, right?
I mean, Jasper County was a nightmare. That stretch from SC 315 to the Georgia line was a 2-lane bottleneck that could hold up a load for hours. They finally finished the $64 million widening to 4 lanes. It's a vital link between Charleston and Savannah.
And BNSF is making moves in the Southwest, too, expanding intermodal service from Phoenix to Dallas-Fort Worth. They're trying to catch that nearshoring wave from Mexico before the capacity gets locked up by the competition.
Well, it's all about integrated footprints now. You see, that's exactly what CMA CGM is doing. They just named Natasha Griffin as the new CEO of CMA CGM North America. This follows that massive FedEx supply chain acquisition they did back in July for $1.4 billion.
It's a huge play to move away from just being a maritime carrier, right? They're turning into a door-to-door infrastructure giant. They've got over 130 distribution centers now.
I mean, actually, it's a direct challenge to the domestic carriers. They're buying their way into the landside infrastructure to protect themselves from the maritime volatility we talked about earlier. It's smart, but it's going to be a nightmare for compliance once the regulators start looking at that kind of market dominance.
Look, let's pivot back to that main event we were talking about, the AI infrastructure boom. This is the story people are missing because they're looking at consumer spending at Target or Walmart.
The Silicon Prairie construction? I mean, I've seen the flatbeds loaded with those cooling units heading into Iowa and Nebraska.
Exactly, Buck. Flatbed rates are up a massive $1.09 per mile annually. That is insane for a market that is technically in a volume lull. But these data centers require specialized, high-touch logistics. You can't just drop a transformer in a dirt lot and hope for the best.
Actually, the risk profile for these loads is astronomical. If one of those transformers gets damaged, it's not just a claim. It's a 6-month delay for a billion-dollar project. I'm seeing insurance companies starting to demand escorts and dual driver teams just for basic data center equipment shipments.
It's those human relationships again, you know? The shippers for these tech giants don't just want a truck. They want a partner who understands that the freight is the mission-critical path for the entire company's growth strategy.
I don't care about your drone count or how fast your AI can re-decision a route. If you lack a driver who knows how to strap down 10 tons of sensitive electronics, you just have an expensive paperweight on the side of Interstate 80.
Well said, Buck. Look, bottom line is we're seeing a new hierarchy in freight. You've got the commodity movers fighting over pennies on the spot market, and then you've got the specialized pros who are essentially name your price right now because they're the only ones who can move the future.
I suppose that's the reality check for today. You see, technology can map the route, but the physical risk is still the final hurdle. And honestly, if we don't fix the cybersecurity issues Buck mentioned, all those fancy server farms won't mean a thing when the network goes dark.
It's sort of a high wire act, right? We're building this incredibly complex system while the ground underneath it, the geopolitics, the physical infrastructure, is constantly shifting.
It's a fourth and long every single day in this industry, Jules. But that's why we're here in the ops room.
That does it for us here at the High Road. Today, we tracked the Arctic's new Silk Road and why your local flatbed driver might be the most important person in the AI revolution. Stay sharp and watch those blind sides.
Peace out.
See ya.
Later.
Keep those lanes clean, folks. And remember, form is everything.